Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to this Innovation Forum webinar in association with USAID. I'm Ian Welsh and I'll be your host for the next hour or so. We're going to be talking about driving sustainable development and conservation through transformative partnerships. As climate change, biodiversity loss and ecosystem degradation worsen, it clearly becomes increasingly critical to invest in the well-being of communities living in vulnerable, highly biodiverse regions, safeguarding health and food security, and achieving broader development outcomes. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Please do join the poll. Please do vote in the poll. It'll be there for another few minutes as we get into our webinar. I'm delighted to be joined today by a number of experts. We have Dina Esposito, who's the lead at USAID's Bureau for Resilience, Environment and Food Security. And Dina's just joined me now. And coming up a little bit later on, we have Jean-Luc Ramhavelo, Monitoring and Evaluation Officer at Ocean Farmers Madagascar. And we're hoping to be joined by Imam Suharto, who's head of cocoa sustainability for Indonesia with OFI. We're having a few technical challenges right now, but we're hoping to hear from Imam Suharto as well. And joining us a little bit later on will be USAID's Natural Resources Specialist, Elizabeth Dutt. Okay, let's get straight into it. Dina, welcome. Perhaps you could start by giving us a bit of an overview of the work of USAID, and particularly your HEARTH initiative. Dina.
Thank you so much, Ian, and hello, everyone. I am delighted to be joining you here today for this conversation. A special welcome to all of you from wherever in the world you may be joining us from. And also a special thanks to you, Ian, and to your whole team at Innovation Forum for hosting the webinar, and to the business partners whom you're going to hear from today. I'm delighted that they've been able to join us. Hearth is actually a word, if you think about it, that nicely merges these concepts of heart and earth. It stands for health, ecosystems, and agriculture for resilient, thriving societies. It is fundamentally about taking integrated approaches aimed at improving the well-being for both people and planet. As Ian noted, I do lead the bureau that's called Resilience, Environment, and Food Security at AID, also called REFS for short, REFS, and we have 7 different technical centers that provide support to aid missions around the world, and we lead on a number of very important aid strategies and policies, including the AID climate strategy, the global water strategy, the global food security strategy, and our biodiversity and resilience policies. If you look at these various documents, you'll see a remarkable amount of overlap and complementarity in them as you review these pieces. For those of you who don't actually know AID well, we are the largest bilateral economic development and humanitarian agency in the world. We have missions or offices in about 100 countries, and they are staffed by both national experts and career foreign service officers. This global architecture actually gives the U.S. government a quite unique footprint among donor nations and allows us to really understand the nuances of local context and to build very close partnerships, not only with government, but also with civil society and the private sector. As Ian mentioned, I'm joined on the call today by Elizabeth Dutt, who's one of 2 coordinators for HEARTH in Washington. Also on the line, though not speaking, are a number of other technical experts who are deeply committed to this effort, including Robert Cohen, who is from our Global Health Bureau. He is a medical doctor. Elizabeth is a veterinarian working in my bureau. So you've got this cross-bureau fertilization going on as we tackle these very interconnected challenges. HEARTH was launched in 2019. It is an integrated development approach modeled on the One Health concept, which recognizes that the health of humans, domestic and wild animals, plants, and the wider environment are closely linked and interdependent. The 2 coordinators that, as I mentioned, with their distinct backgrounds, complemented by other technical experts on the DC-based HEARTH team, reflect our understanding and our intent that we need to break down silos and bring together very different skill sets and expertise to solve critically important and interdependent challenges. The HEARTH portfolio you're going to be hearing more about today emphasizes not only cross-sectoral solutions and approaches, but also expansive public-private partnerships. This builds on our understanding that solving the world's biggest development challenges will fundamentally require concerted collective effort. Our private partnerships across the agency have actually grown by 60% in the last few years. And last year alone, our fiscal year 2023, which ended just a few weeks ago, USAID had 982 active private sector resource partners who've contributed $318 million to a wide range of development outcomes, including, for example, helping mothers safely give birth, improving access to insurance and climate information services to build communities' resilience to climate change, and improving livelihoods and creating jobs by connecting smallholder farmers to sustainable supply chains. HEARTH is predicated on the understanding that the private sector brings innovative ideas, technologies, market access, and market solutions that are absolutely essential to our development goals. Today, HEARTH uses $75 million in public funds to leverage more than $90 million in private sector funds and in-kind contributions toward common goals such as advancing progress in agribusiness, biodiversity conservation, climate mitigation, sustainable tourism, clean energy, sustainable mining, water and sanitation, and public health. There are actually 49 private sector entities who have joined more than 17 of our HEARTH projects that are now being implemented in 12 countries across 3 continents. Our business partners do range widely from large transnational corporations such as Olam Food Ingredients, and I hope they'll be able to join us soon online, as well as Disney, Starbucks, Nespresso, to actually smaller but equally impactful companies like Ocean Farmers in Madagascar, and Jean-Luc, who's online, is joining us today from their organization. Our HEARTH team is also deeply committed to monitoring the impacts of the entire HEARTH portfolio with the intention to scale up successful integrated programming. Highlights compiled in the first 1 to 2 years of implementation indicate that crop yields are increasing in many of the project areas despite climate and market challenges. And on the environmental side, HEARTH partners have planted 2.6 million trees, corresponding to 125,000 tons of carbon sequestered, the equivalent of removing, say, 30,000 cars from the road for 1 year. We are today at a critical juncture with global threats from climate change, biodiversity loss, environmental degradation, and food insecurity, so unfortunately all on the rise. HEARTH offers an important way forward, and we urgently need to learn together about its impacts and its potential to scale critically needed solutions for both people and planet. As we look into the next phase of programming, we are very excited to bring in more diverse groups together, to build on the existing partnerships, and to create new collaborations. I'm very much looking forward to both hearing from our panelists about their journey, their HEARTH journey, as well as hearing from those of you online, your questions and comments. So thank you again for inviting me, Ian, to join you on this panel and for hosting us.
Thanks. Thank you, Dina. Thanks very much indeed for that snapshot of where you are at. Now, you mentioned that you're shifting to working with private sector. Why is USAID making this shift?
Well, I work a lot actually in the agriculture sector, and maybe just to give you an example there, our USAID administrator, Samantha Power, is often fond of saying that no amount of development dollars are going to solve global hunger. And when we think about the need to boost agricultural productivity by 60% all over the world to feed a growing population by 2050, we have to realize, of course, that agriculture is fundamentally a commercial enterprise. So for example, that development challenge, we really see our role as de-risking the private sector, creating the right enabling environment by working with governments on policy and regulatory reform, and allowing the commercial sector to really reach its full potential in the countries where we work. We also know that, at least in terms of global investments, business investments make up about 90% of financial flows, moving into emerging economies, far surpassing what donor agencies and development finance institutions can do. So we really see that we need to build on these collective partnerships, each bringing our comparative advantages to bear if we're going to solve these big development problems.
Thanks, Dina. I should have, of course, said that, audience, we do want to hear from you. We have a lot of people on the line, so please use the Q&A function to put your questions for our panel, and I'll come to them a little bit later on. But use the Q&A function, and we will come to those a little bit later on. You can, of course, upvote questions as well. So if you see a question that you particularly like, do use the upvote function, and it's more likely then it'll be put to our panel. Dina, so turning back to you, Dina, so what do you consider to be the benefits then of the sustainable business sector for partnering with USAID?
Thanks, Ian. I hope we'll hear from our private sector partners what they see as the sustainable the benefits. But from our perspective, for sure, we would argue, or we would encourage business partners to take a close look at USAID as a partner. Because of this unique global footprint we have, we do see ourselves as playing a critically important convener role in the countries where we work, bringing together stakeholders from diverse areas of business, industry, private sector, civil society, government, to tackle problems that are shared. We have a collective interest in solving together. We can help to build coalitions. We do a lot of work on advocacy with government. We provide technical assistance to build the government's institutions and systems that allow them to meet, say, internationally recognized standards in terms of trade, and a variety of other kinds of institutional strengthening. So these are all things that I think private sector cannot do, but urgently needs having done if they're going to have a profitable and sustainable business. And selfishly, from our perspective, we want to de-risk them to go to, say, work with the more vulnerable communities in an environment, or go to geographies in a country that are a little bit further afield. So we would like to help to de-risk those investments, which we can do through grant money, through loan guarantees, through credit guarantees, and a variety of different financial instruments that we can bring to bear, working alongside the private sector to really help them unlock their full potential, and in the process create jobs, improve livelihoods, and improve conservation as well. And that's what we're really talking about with this project. I would note that, for example, in Indonesia, I don't know if there's anybody from Mars on the line, but we have a partnership there where we were able to bring together our national, provincial, and district government. We were able to bring those government officials together alongside financial institutions and local communities around an effort to really accelerate climate-smart agroforestry in cocoa-producing areas. Our collective aim was to really boost cocoa production by 30%, to improve farmer profits by 15%, and to sequester a lot of carbon in the process through improved production practices, helping improve the livelihoods of people, improve conservation, but also helping Mars ensure that it can sustain its bottom line in a world where the climate is becoming increasingly variable and where there are a lot of challenges to sustaining production. So those are just some examples and some of the things that I think AID brings to the table when we talk about public-private partnership.
You mentioned several times the need to de-risk for the private sector. Were you finding that that was a real barrier to sustainable development?
Often, yes, when we talk to private sector, what do you need to go to do more, say with smallholder farmers, again, an area that I'm most familiar with, bringing smallholder farmers into, say, a contract farming arrangement or an outgrower scheme. If those farmers do not pay back on the investments for inputs and technical support, when the harvest comes in, that company can lose a lot of money. So in Malawi, for example, we've worked with a company to set up a credit guarantee so that if farmers don't pay back, we de-risk that investment. We help encourage them to take that risk on the smallholder, recognizing that they'll not be extensively out of pocket if some of those farmers don't pay back. So I think that is very much a comment that we hear. The other issue we hear a lot is about the enabling environment. We need a predictable enabling environment. And that's where our ambassadors, our mission directors, engage directly with government and also provide them with clear data and the technical support they need to gather data and develop systems and strengthening institutions to actually deliver that predictable enabling environment.
Great. Well, thank you very much indeed for that really interesting overview. There's lots we can come back on there, and indeed, if anyone has any questions about any of that, please do put your questions in the Q&A function on your Zoom window. Jean-Luc, let me turn to you now. Welcome, joining us from Madagascar. Perhaps you can explain what Ocean Farmers does and what the Ocean Farmers business model is. Jean-Luc.
Thank you, Ian, and good afternoon to everyone from Madagascar. Maybe everyone did research on their site, but to brief in few words, Ocean Farmers focuses on village-based seaweed aquaculture model that integrate sustainable marine farming practices with community involvement. The model leverages local knowledges and practices while introducing innovative techniques to enhance productivity and sustainability by cultivating species that are ecologically viable and have market potential. Ocean Farmers create opportunities for rural communities to engage in profitable aquaculture, ensuring that marine resources are managed sustainably. And Ocean Farmers' approach emphasizes environmental stewardship, economic resilience, and social inclusion. That's about Ocean Farmers.
Okay, so how long has Ocean Farmers been working in Madagascar?
Well, Ocean Farmers was officially founded in 2017 to 2017. However, prior to that, the company as a subsidiary of Copefrito, maybe everyone has heard about that, a seafood collection company, had already been active since 2010 when seaweed farming was relaunched in the southwest of Madagascar, focusing exclusively on village-based aquaculture. This initiative carried out in collaboration with NGOs, provided an alternative source of income for fishing communities. Between 2010 and 2016, the village-based model matured with several operators expanding into the northeast of Madagascar. This model gained significant traction, resulting in notable social and environmental impact, which attracted numerous technical and financial partners, including USAID. So to go back to your question, Ocean Farmers has been operational in Madagascar for over 12 years.
Thank you very much. So perhaps you can talk a little bit about the project. I know you've got a project named Nosy Manga. Can you talk a bit about that?
Yeah, Nosy Manga is a Malagasy word. Yeah. If we translate that, it means blue islands, symbolizing the pristine and vibrant marine ecosystems we aim to protect and sustainably develop. So the term reflects the project goal of balancing ecological preservation with economic opportunities for local communities.
Okay, and when did you start partnering with USAID?
So the Nosy Manga partnership with USAID under the HEARTH initiative began its groundwork in February 2022. So the project involves implementing sustainable aquaculture practice to address food security, biodiversity conservation, and community resilience. Since its inception, the collaboration has engaged stakeholders at various levels, from local fishers to national authorities, to ensure that the benefits of the project are widely shared.
Okay. Now, obviously, the idea of the HEARTH initiative is to develop public-private partnerships, work together, and I know you're involved now in developing some data points coming from your partnership. So can you share a little bit about what your data is showing right now?
Yeah, to note first that seaweed farming with ocean farmers model offer a sustainable solution with significant economic, environmental, and social benefits. By looking at this data photo, one may not notice them directly, but economically, seaweed farming creates employment opportunities for coastal communities and support industries such as food, cosmetic, and biofuel. Additionally, seaweed farming is more resilient to climate impacts than traditional agriculture and complement other aquaculture practices. Environmentally, seaweed plays a crucial role in combating climate change by absorbing CO2, improving water quality by removing excess nutrients, and fostering marine biodiversity by creating habitats. It requires no fertilizers, which help reduce pollutions and eases pressure on water resources, while also protecting coastline from erosion. From a socioeconomic perspective, local community have reported increased income from seaweed farming, along with improvements in food security. However, the full assessment of this impact are not available yet. It's an ongoing study under the Nosy Manga project, which is set to be completed before the project ends.
Thank you. I'm going to actually explain what the slide is showing us here. So obviously the refer to specific indexes. Could you just explain a little bit more about what we are seeing in this slide, what it's showing?
So in the slide, it shows that there is the positive impact of the seaweed farming area, the zone. As we saw some fishes in the sea, and economically, as I said too, that's create in employment, as I said, an employment opportunity for coastal community, because we see that the seaweed is growing well in that area.
Okay, thanks very much. So let's think a bit about environmental challenges. What are the specific environmental challenges that your partnership with USAID is addressing?
So maybe everyone knows that Madagascar is globally recognized for its exceptional biodiversity, but it is equally important to note that more than 80% of population relies directly on natural resources for their livelihoods. So this creates enormous pressure on ecosystem, particularly marine ecosystems, which are threatened by overexploitation and climate change. The partnership with USAID through the Nosy Manga project seeks to address this challenge by promoting sustainable aquaculture model, particularly seaweed farming. This project, the Nosy Manga, demonstrate how this innovative practice can not only reduce pressure on natural resources, but also play a key role in restoring and protecting marine ecosystems while improving the livelihoods of local communities.
Thank you very much indeed. Are there any specific benefits of the partnership with USAID that you'd like to highlight?
The partnership with USAID has significantly strengthened ocean farmers' capacity to scale its operations. It has provided technical assistance, access to broader networks, and the financial resources needed to invest in advanced aquaculture techniques and capacity building programs. Furthermore, the collaboration has enhanced our visibility and credibility, opening up new opportunity for partnership with both local and international stakeholders. So by aligning with USAID missions of sustainable development, we are also able to address social and environmental challenges more effectively.
Thank you. Just in closing then, what does the future look like for ocean farmers?
Yeah, good question. It is promising as we continue to expand our operations, increasing the scale of production and deepening our engagement with coastal communities. In the long term, we aim to position ourselves as a leader in sustainable marine farming with a model that can be replicated in other parts of Madagascar and beyond, why not here? With continued support from partners like USAID, we are confident that ocean farmers can play a crucial role in building a resilient blue economy that benefits both people and the planet.
That's great. Well, thank you very much indeed. Fascinating stuff. I'm delighted that joining us just in time, Imam Suharto from Indonesia, Head of Cocoa Sustainability at OFI. Welcome to you, Imam. I'm glad we've sorted out the technical challenges. This technology, it works brilliantly unless it doesn't work. But I'm glad we managed to get it working now. So welcome to the webinar. So if I can turn to you, Olam has several partnerships with USAID, but perhaps you can tell us a bit about the LASCARCOCO project in Indonesia that I know you're involved with. Imam, welcome.
Yeah, very sorry, Dr. Ian, and all the webinar participant, with this technical problem. Yes, I am Imam Suharto from OFI. I'm based in Jakarta. Actually, happy being here to share about our experience in LASCARCOCO, the landscape approach to climate change resilient cocoa and coffee agroforestry. A project supported by USAID. Yeah. Dr. Yan, can you repeat your question, please?
Sure. Well, I was just asking you to introduce the project, and you've done that brilliantly. Let me ask you more specifically, how do you coordinate with the USAID? What does that look like?
No, you know that we, like a group, Olam Food Ingredient, we started doing sustainability projects in 2004, like 20 years back, yeah, on that, no. So having this experience that we have engaged with USAID Indonesia in several occasions, like national seminar here in Indonesia. Then we try to explain about our strategy, Cocoa Compass strategy, in what time we call choice for change, no. And then through this conversation with USAID, and then we have a common understanding how to cope with climate change and using our landscape experience in Indonesia, no. Because this project actually with USAID is not a new thing for us, meaning that we have already experience before, yeah, with a landscape project, and then through the cooperation with USAID, we scale this project into 3 provinces in Indonesia, and we cover both community, yeah, cocoa and coffee, and then we promote multi-stakeholder approach and also agroforestry as our one of the approach to cope with climate change, no. I think that how we work and cooperate with USAID here. Of course, that the impact that we want to have. First, that because this is like a co-creation project, we would like to have the benefit, especially for our farmers. We targeted like 7,000 farmers, and also that government can buy in of this project approach. Pak Yan.
Thank you. Thanks very much. So the Hearth initiative is all about developing public-private partnerships that are working towards the development challenges and market challenges, and benefiting business as well as people and environment. So in your experience in Indonesia, how is that approach working?
as I said earlier, that this project multi-stakeholder approach, meaning that there is a different partner involved in this project. One, of course, is USAID and the national government of Indonesia, the National Planning Bureau. Their role actually is become the the steering committee of this project. And then at the local level, we work with the local government. And then, of course, as a business, we work with HEARTH, the off-taker of this project. Through this partnership, we would like to try to engage everyone how to develop cocoa and coffee agroforestry. So first, we would like to get a benefit to the community, meaning to increase their living income first. Second is to cope with the climate change and conservation area, which is we are targeted 15,000 hectare of protected area surrounding of our project area in the three province. And finally, that the government need to learn and also take the benefit of the project. For example, like currently that two district out of like 7 district of the project already budgeting into their project or the development program at the district level for 2025. Of course, for Olam itself, Olam Food Ingredient as that having this project also can engage with more buyer. For example, last a potential buyer coming from Japan, because with our approach, multi-stakeholder approach, and also the help of the USAID through their media campaign, or also our media, internal media can reach out or share this, LASCARCOCO project worthwhile. Payan.
Okay, thanks. I wondered if you could just outline some of the key challenges for OFI in Indonesia. I mean, perhaps climate change related or whatever. And how is the project or the partnership with USAID helping you address those challenges?
Well, main challenge actually there is like a technical challenge and also a global challenge. Of course, the climate change, something that beyond our control. But technical challenge like good agriculture practices, engagement with government, engagement with community. That is what we are doing, on this challenge. Let I back to the climate change challenge here. Through different or series of meeting with the government, right? How to mitigate the climate change, through this project, So after series of meeting with the government communities, and then we decide actually together with them that first, strengthen the capacity of a smallholder, community surrounding of that project area, how to mitigate with climate change. Our approach actually let do cocoa and coffee agroforestry, meaning here we improve capacity of the community, how to grow more trees. This one. Second, this because they are working in the sloping area, that we introduce a new model how to grow cocoa and planting tree using the sloping agriculture land technology. That is related to climate change, and related to technical thing like coffee and cocoa planting material or technical thing. We work with the national government. Actually, we propose the national government to have a new clone, which is more resistant to climate change. No, finally, that we just launched 2 new variety for cocoa with the support of USAID through national research. No, that is, I think, this is really, really very, very big impact to the cocoa community in Indonesia in the future, right? Then finally, we hope that we can boost the productivity from that, like currently like a 500 or 700 a kilogram per hectare to 1 ton at least in coming future.
Thank you. I just wondered how, or is OFI considering expanding the approach that you've taken to cocoa in your project to other commodities? I know you mentioned coffee just now. Are there other commodities that you're planning to expand this approach to?
No, actually, it is not only around USAID, even others project, yeah, like UNDP project. Actually, today morning, this morning, yeah, I met with UNDP project, and then they asked actually how this model, the agroforestry model, can replicate it into, for example, cinnamon, rubber, and others food crop, yeah. That actually show that what we are doing with USAID really a kind of a model that possible to replicate into different community, different area, in across Indonesia.
Okay, just in closing then, given your experience working with on USAID in the Hearth project, what other sort of partners or businesses or otherwise that you think would benefit from this approach?
Yeah. First of all, actually, again, that thank you for USAID to, providing us opportunity to, implementing this project. No, of course, this first impact that we would like to mention here, the benefit of this project is the community. The community now is able to aware and understand how doing mitigation on the climate change. This one. No? Second, that how then a community or farmers approaching or practicing conservation around cocoa and coffee. Yeah, that and especially that for the government. No. Yeah, through this project, I think the Indonesian government, one of the minister was saying to us that this is a real project that could be scale up, at not only at the district level but at the national level through the government, different government institution. No? Last but not least, actually, the new component of this project, which is now become one of the lesson learned from us, actually, the social forestry. No, social forestry in Indonesia, actually, farmers or community are allowed to do farming activities to earn something from legal protected forest. No, meaning that they gave a license from the government to do farming activities like within 3 years. No, so for this is really a new approach. Yeah, that the government usually just leave it like that. When the farm community have a lease, and then nobody help them how to maintaining or execute that the social forestry. Yeah, and we have a lot of appreciation from the government that through this project the social forestry can benefit more to the community and people surrounding that protected forest.
Thank you very much indeed. Thanks for taking us through your project, and great that you were able to join us. I'll thank you very much also to our audience for your questions. Some of the USAID team have been busy answering a lot of them in the background, but I will come to some of those just now. Perhaps if my colleagues at Innovation Forum could bring Elizabeth from USAID onto the call, because there's a question I want to put in. I know that Dina and Elizabeth will be tag teaming on answering questions, but in particular, there's a question we had which received quite a lot of upvotes around how USAID reaches small farmers in Africa. Obviously, critical smallholder farmers, critical in African commodity supply chains, food supply chains. So I'm wondering, how does USAID in particular work with structures locally to reach small farmers in Africa? Elizabeth, do you want to take that?
Sure, I can get us started, but definitely Dina, I'm sure, has a lot to add to this. But just from our perspective with Hearth and USAID in general, one of our biggest strengths is on the ground contact and networking and convening local stakeholders. You know, we are familiar with the communities. We've been in many of our partner countries a long time and have the support and kind of trust of many of those communities where we have worked. And because of that, we can reach a large number of smallholder farmers, which is one of the most vulnerable groups that is a priority for USAID. So, Dina, do you want to
add a little more? Thank you for the question. The global hunger strategy that we implement is called Feed the Future. If you're interested in learning more about how we work with smallholder farmers, the Feed the Future strategy, you can find it online. The global food security strategy, you can find online. But one of the ways we approach this is we do some analysis and we try to identify a zone within a country where you have the most vulnerable farmers and the highest rates of stunting or a form of chronic malnutrition. And that's where we're going to target our resources. So as a development agency, we do really want to make sure, and we do try hard to try to drive those resources to those parts of the country that are most poor and most vulnerable. We do try to then incentivize private sector development, both the big transnational groups like OFI, to go to those areas. So that's one way we're trying to connect farmers to sustainable supply chains. But then we also do a lot with local banks, village savings and loan groups, things that can give smallholder farmers access to the finance and inputs they need by providing, we talk about system strengthening. How do we strengthen the financial system to help a farmer access a small loan or a small or medium enterprise that's, say, providing inputs or fertilizer or technical support to many farmers? Getting those businesses up and running can really help that smallholder farmer. So we're working a lot with banks to create innovative financial products, and again, de-risking by providing first loss or other kinds of financial support that will help the whole ecosystem and the system of finance that it takes for the private sector to thrive, including commercial, helping smallholder farmers become businesses, which is really our goal, not to have them maintained as subsistence farmers, which is not the long-term solution. So that's maybe just a little bit of detail on our smallholders.
Thanks, Dina. We've had a lot of questions asking about how to access USAID's programs, how to get in touch, and some really good, useful information that's been answered by a team from USAID on the Q&A. So do go to that if you're looking for more information as to how to approach USAID. And there's also a useful update on the second test between England and Pakistan at cricket as well. So thanks very much to James Bampton for doing that. We do often get cricket updates on Innovation Forum webinars, so thank you very much for that. I'd like to turn to the EUDR, European Union Deforestation Regulation. That's been a really hot topic for us at Innovation Forum for a year and more. And we've had a question about that. And it relates back again to challenges facing smallholder farmers. Are you at USAID doing anything specific to help smallholder farmers cope with the challenges around the European Union Deforestation Regulation? Dina?
Thanks. This is a relatively new area. I think it's taking some time for people to really understand what the implications are, and what it all really means. But we are concerned about the potential negative impacts of that. We completely agree in principle with what the goal of the EUDR is. And but we also want to make sure that smallholder farmers are not negatively impacted by it. So we are taking a close look at the country level about what more we can do to help create the verifications and supply chain verifications that are required for smallholder farmers so that they don't lose access to those markets. But I think, and I'll turn it to Elizabeth to see if she wants to add more, but I think it's a bit early days in terms of really making sure that those farmers are not negatively harmed. Elizabeth,
Yes,
anything?
thank you. Thank you, Dina. No, just to follow up, USAID and particularly our HEARTH initiative, we are concerned about deforestation, but also appreciate that it is early days still, and still need to further consideration. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. But a question about relating to the de-risking point that we talked about earlier. Question for you, Dina, I guess. De-risking approaches may differ across investments and sectors. What specific sectors and investments are challenging, particularly in the African context, around de-risking? What are the key things that you need to be aware of when you're doing this, when you are thinking about de-risking investment? Oh, Dina, you're on mute.
I think this would be a question of interest. Also, I'd love to hear from the private sector teams about where they see the greatest risk when they come to a country. For us, the real central challenge, or what we've really kind of honed in on, is not so much a sector, if you will, as it is the general need to access finance. Small and medium enterprises are really the heartbeat of many of the sectors that for the economies in Africa to thrive. And those small and medium enterprises are really starved for finance. They're too big for microfinance. They're too small for commercial finance. So our real interest when we get to de-risking is focusing on the risk for small and medium enterprises. And it could be any range of types of processors, any range of input suppliers, people focused on storage, on transportation, access to clean energy. All of these sectors require finance. So I would say that if you look across AID's investments, you're going to see a whole host of different approaches to that issue.
Perhaps, Jean-Luc, could I bring you in here? What are for you that were the key challenges around this de-risking point in terms of de-risking private sector investment? Jean-Luc.
Sorry, yeah. Please, could you repeat the question, Jan? Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Sure. It's just, I wondered if you wanted to comment for you, what for you were the key challenges around de-risking, or the key points that you around de-risking investment? What for you were the key points here about de-risking the investment? The way that USAID, that's part of their role, is to de-risk investment for private sector.
In terms of that, yeah, I think that the challenges on that is something that I wasn't thinking a lot, yeah, but I think that
Tell you what, why don't you have a think about it, and I'll come back to you. Come back in a couple of minutes, because we would like to have I've got a question for Imam. Imam, could you just share a bit of insight into the co-creation between OFI, USAID, and farmers and farmer groups? When you're working together, what are the key elements for success? That's a question from our audience.
Okay. No, first of all, thank you for this, question. Co-creation actually, a first approach that we are experienced for. Usually in many projects, the owner of the project who own everything, driving everything. Yeah, then the others who involve is become like the subject of this approach. No, but in co-creation, actually, any actor who involved in this project in LASCARCOCO, actually they have a co-ownership. Yeah, why like that? Because from the beginning of this project, we like PT Olam Indonesia, OFI, and the USAID already agree that any actor involved in this project should have equal responsibility, equal ownership. So from the start that we explain, we introduce to the stakeholder from the farmers, the community, that this project is about you, about us, how to work together, to protect the forest, mitigate on the climate change, how to improve their livelihood, by working together through this LASCARCOCO USAID HEARTH project. Similarly, what we do into the district level. This is very important because in Indonesia, district level is the level of the government who have authority to take a decision for their own development. Yeah, so in this level is very important. Again, we do similar, and we ask them, in advance, to commit, become the the owner of this project, and we like LASCARCOCO and USAID become their facilitator, provide technical assistance if needed, but important that when the project there, and then they need to become the owner of this project, right? And then at the national level, this is very important, because without willingness and also political awareness become the owner of the project, I think it will be difficult that to us to implement to to the ground. This kind of approach actually we set in from the beginning, setting the objective, setting the strategy, the log frame, a theory of change, we all this process we introduce to them, and then become common understanding of the approach and also the objective of the project. Having this, I think so far now that especially the local government and the district level very aware, and there are one example that they take lesson learned, and then some the landscape approach next year 2025, two district already put their budget how to continue this approach in their district. Payan.
So, ma'am, Elizabeth, do you want to come in and talk a little bit more about co-creation?
Yeah,
Sure, absolutely.
Sorry.
Iman, thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Ian and Iman. Excellent explanation of the co-creation. And just to elaborate a little bit more, co-creation is really the heart of Hearth, where we view the importance of bringing different sectors and actors together to really discuss the challenges and come up with effective, sustainable solutions. So the co-creation aspect starts from the very beginning. It's a conversation, starting to talk with businesses like yourselves, and then discussing, learning about what your interests are, and starting to understand what the different priorities are for those different technical sectors. As Dina mentioned, things are very complex and there are many challenges, and Hearth is designed to embrace those complexities and really not shy away from those risks, as the previous conversation we have the flexibility, fortunately, at USAID to take some risks and come up with those innovative solutions that others haven't been willing to support. So we are a strong proponent of co-creation, and enjoy having those conversations with our private sector partners, as well as the community members and all of the stakeholders in the field. So thank you.
No, thank you very much. We're coming towards the end. I just want to put a question back to you, Dina. It comes back to something that you mentioned earlier, and it's about resilience. And I just wondered how you integrate, there's a question about this, a really good question about this on the Q&A, how you integrate broader factors such as ecosystem understanding, monitoring, academic involvement, governance, community management, while you're thinking about fostering sustainable outcomes. So how do you link all of that together? I mean, it's a great question, but it's a huge challenge, I'd imagine.
It is. I think, what I find interesting, I was at the UN General Assembly and went to a whole series of different meetings around conservation and food security, where you're having even those folks who are interested in a bottom line profit talking about landscape level solutions, that it's no longer sufficient. If you're thinking about resilience of the ecosystem, resilience of your business, resilience of your community, to look at a point, or an on-farm point of solution, you've really got to take the whole landscape into account. And so you've got people who, with diverse interests, all coming together around this understanding that it's got to be much larger than just the profit or just the solution on a farm, say, for example. So I think the resilience of the ecosystem and the resilience of the company and the resilience of the community are converging in a way where you're starting to get, I think, more serious commitment to collective action. We do provide resources for universities to do research, to bring innovation online. We work with social enterprises as well as private sector. So I wouldn't want to suggest that our focus is exclusively on private sector, but rather government, civil society, private sector, and communities coming together with a real focus on inclusion and co-creation to get at those triple wins for people, planet, and prosperity of the private sector.
Thank you. Jean-Luc, let me come back to you very quickly. Did you want to comment on any of the particular challenges around de-risking that we were talking about before? Jean-Luc?
Yes, I do.
Very briefly, if you wouldn't mind, we're coming to the end.
Yes, yeah. De-risking in Madagascar, particularly in sector like aquaculture, as like us, yeah, requires a multifaceted approach that addresses both, environmental and socioeconomic risks. Yeah. So here, strategy include promoting climate resilience practices such as sustainable. I said all the time land, but it's not land, sea management, and introducing adaptive technology like improved seed variety or techniques that withstand variable conditions. So building strong partnership with local community stakeholders and government entity ensures that intervention are contextually appropriate and social inclusive. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So that's the answer in my understanding of the question. So that's the de-risking in Madagascar. Yeah. So
thank you.
My personal analysis. Yeah. So
that's great. No, thank you very much indeed. We're coming towards the end. Dina, I just wanted to ask, just in closing, a final thing from you. What's next for USAID and the Hearth initiative? What are you looking at moving on to next?
Well, one of the things we are serious about is investing in a monitoring and evaluation and learning. We have a learning agenda. We have a series of investments to really try to understand what works when you're talking about multi-sectoral development interventions that are going to deliver multiple wins. It's a pretty complicated thing to study, actually. You break it apart in a lot of different places, but learning from that and then looking to scale solutions and doing more of what is working. We're always interested in talking with new partners to find out, entice them into this agenda and to get in touch with us to see if there are other areas that we can work with others to build on. I love the examples that both Imam and Jean-Luc talked about in terms of scaling solutions. What we really need to do is to move faster to get scale. And I think Imam talked about scaling to other types of commodities and demonstrating that what works for coffee and cocoa can work for rubber and other things, but also the scaling through government incentives, right? If the government sees that it works, they create the right enabling environment to scale solutions well beyond a specific sector. So you've got the private sector scaling through replicability, and you've got the public sector investments that allow for scaling. And those are really, really exciting when those two things come together. So I would say we're looking at the scaling of solutions. We're looking at measuring impact so that we know what we need to double down on. Thanks.
Well, thank you very much. It's been a really interesting hour, and thank you very much to USAID and to all our panelists for their contributions, and particularly dealing with the technical challenges that we had earlier in the webinar. So thank you very much for being with us. Audience will be in touch with the audio and video recordings, so you can listen again and share with your colleagues. We'll also do our best to share the Q&A responses. There's been really useful stuff in there, so we'll share those as well. I hope this hour has been useful for you. I've been Ian Welsh, and from Innovation Forum, thanks very much indeed.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nina, Elizabeth, Ian.